Welcome to the Lure of Temptation. Each story is a personal encounter with weakness, through which each person will rise up to escape the traps of temptation around. And today we come to the topic, inspiring story. From gambling addict to success, he lost everything. His house, his family, his hope. But he didn't give up. This isn't just a story about gambling. It's a story about redemption. If you've ever felt trapped in a cycle you can't break, this might be the wake-up call you've been waiting for. Rock bottom looked like a poker table at 3 a.m. Broke, alone, ashamed. But what came next wasn't failure. It was the first step to freedom. Today's story will show you that no matter how far you've fallen, there's a way back. He used to gamble away his entire paycheck before sunrise. Today, he's mentoring others to find peace. What changed? Stay with us, because this story proves that healing is possible, and hope is real. At the heart of every story of transformation lies a moment, a single, life-defining instant that changes the entire trajectory of a person's life. For Mark, that moment didn't come with fanfare or dramatic music. It came on an ordinary Tuesday evening, when the flickering lights of the slot machines and the hollow clatter of tokens finally lost their hypnotic power, replaced instead by the quiet ache of emptiness inside him. That was the night he realized he couldn't go on like this. The thrill of chance had become a prison, and he was desperate for freedom. Mark had never intended to become a gambling addict. In the beginning, it was nothing more than a harmless escape, a way to unwind after work, to fill the gaps left by unfulfilled dreams. The casino lights always shone a little brighter after a long day. The cheers of ordinary people striking it big felt contagious, as if luck were something you could borrow just by being nearby. At first, Mark played for fun, sticking to small bets, relishing the rush of a rare win. But over time, something shifted. The wins felt sweeter, the losses more intolerable. He chased the next victory, certain it was just around the corner. Soon, the boundaries between fun and compulsion blurred. Saturday nights turned into Tuesday mornings. Friendly games transformed into high-stakes risks. The money he promised he wouldn't touch, the rent, the savings, the nest egg, slowly evaporated into the slot machines and blackjack tables. He hid losses from family, spun elaborate stories for friends, convinced himself every wager was an investment in his future. Each time he swore he was done, the urge returned, stronger than before. But addiction is never truly about the cards or the dice. Mark gambled for the hope he could rewrite his story, recapture the feeling that luck was on his side, that he was destined for greatness. It took years and a devastating string of losses for him to realize that luck is no substitute for self-worth. The night everything changed, Mark sat alone in his car outside the casino. His bank account was nearly empty, his phone buzzing with missed calls from his mother and his younger sister. He stared at his reflection in the rearview mirror, a man he barely recognized. Shadows circled his eyes, guilt weighed his shoulders. The realization struck him with painful clarity. No win could ever fill the emptiness inside him. If he wanted a different life, he had to create it himself, one decision at a time. The road to recovery was anything but easy. Mark started by admitting the truth to his family. The shame of confessing his failures was almost unbearable, but his mother's tears and his sister's hug made him realize he wasn't alone. With their help, he reached out for support, starting therapy and attending support groups for those battling gambling addiction. There, he met people whose stories mirrored his own. Pain, regret, ruined relationships, but also determination and hope. It was in these rooms that Mark learned about triggers, the patterns of stress, loneliness, and boredom that fueled his addiction. Armed with this knowledge, he changed his routine. He began running every morning, the rhythmic slap of his shoes on pavement grounding him in the present. He swapped late-night casino trips for evenings spent with the people who loved him, slowly rebuilding the trust he had eroded. But recovery wasn't just about stopping something destructive. It was about filling the void with meaning. Mark needed to discover what made his life worth living beyond the spin of the roulette wheel. He started volunteering at his local community center, organizing events for kids, helping others find joy in simple victories. For the first time in years, he felt needed, appreciated, and seen. As months passed, Mark searched for a career that could give him purpose. He remembered how, as a child, he had dreamed of owning his own business, one that brought people together, one that brightened the lives of others. Drawing from his experiences, he developed an idea: a cafe that would serve as a safe haven, a place where people could connect without fear or judgment. It would also serve as a resource center for those struggling with addictive behaviors, offering support, literature, and a listening ear. Opening the cafe was a monumental challenge. Mark had to repair his credit, develop a business plan, and convince others to trust in his vision. He faced skepticism. After all, how could a former gambling addict be trusted with a business? But he welcomed these doubts as motivation, pouring his energy into every detail, determined to prove that his past didn't define his future. In the early days, the cafe struggled. Money was tight, and every setback seemed like a warning from his old life, daring him to quit. But Mark persisted. He fostered a welcoming atmosphere, serving coffee with a smile, listening attentively to patrons who were struggling just as he once had. Slowly, word spread that this was a place of acceptance and hope. The community took notice. Former addicts found a second home at the cafe, some offering to help in the kitchen, others sharing their stories during weekly support meetings. Mark's business grew, not just as a place to get a warm drink, but as a beacon for resilience and renewal. The transformation in Mark was profound. Where once he had been consumed by an endless cycle of loss and regret, he now exuded confidence and warmth. He learned to forgive himself for past mistakes, understanding that recovery wasn't a finish line, but a lifelong journey. Every success, every new friendship, every smile in his cafe was a testament to the strength it took to choose a different path. As years passed, Mark's cafe inspired similar spaces in neighboring towns, each one founded on the principle that with understanding and compassion, anyone can overcome even the deepest struggles. He spoke at events across the country, sharing his journey from the depths of addiction to the heights of personal and professional fulfillment. His story resonated because it was honest. He didn't claim to be perfect or free from temptation. Rather, he proved that true strength lies in vulnerability and the unwavering pursuit of a better life. Looking back, Mark understood that his years as a gambler were not wasted, but woven into the tapestry of his new life. They reminded him daily of his potential to overcome, to rebuild, and to help others find their way out of darkness. Gambling had promised him quick riches, but the real reward came from facing himself, learning to persevere, to hope, and ultimately to love his life as it was.
His story leaves us with a lasting message. Our darkest moments do not define us. What matters is what we do when we decide to step into the light, when we commit, even imperfectly, to change. Every day is a new wager, not on luck or chance, but on our ability to create meaning and happiness through honesty, hard work, and compassion, for ourselves and for others. In Mark's journey, we see not just a story of recovery, but of triumph against the odds. Proof that it is never too late to choose a better path and find success on our own terms.
If this story moved you, don't just scroll away. Someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you love. Hit that subscribe button and share this video to spread the message. Here on The Lure of Temptation, we face the darkest parts of addiction and light the path to freedom. Because sometimes the strongest people are the ones who've been broken and chose to rebuild.